Hi everyone, I am back with another video. Today's video is called How Do You Use Your Lighter? Energy Expression Through Symbolism. But first, before we jump into the video, I just want to say to make sure you are subscribed and that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. And also like, comment, share, all that fun stuff. I definitely would love to hear from you. Also, I am still taking appointments for natal chart readings. I have all of that information in the description along with my email address. Also, if you are connected with me on any of my social media, you can also contact me there. But yeah, definitely hit me up. I would love to do a reading and talk to you. So yeah. Okay, so back to our video. So how do you use your lighter? Let's pretend that this lighter is energy. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a lighter. We can definitely do good things with this lighter. We can light candles, we can light a campfire, we can light lots of good things that help us, that provide warmth and light and protection, allow us to cook, all of those things. So we can use this lighter for all of those things to nourish us and expand our lives. We can also use this lighter to literally burn everything to the frickin' ground, like annihilate everything completely. But it's still just a lighter. It had everything to do with either me lighting a candle or making a campfire for someone to keep us warm and safe, or burning everything to the ground. Like, I made the decision to use this energy, this lighter, in a certain way. It's the same with our energy expression, especially when we're talking about astrology or psychology or any of those things. It's how we use it. It's not the energy itself. Humans have this idea, for the most part, that anything that is light is good and anything that is dark is bad. But that is not the case at all. For instance, I live in the desert. It is sunny here about 300 days out of the year. That is a lot of sun. A lot of sun. Oppressively so. It's not a good thing. When you have too much light, you get deserts. You need the dark. We need the dark. Things grow in the dark. Things are protected in the dark. A seed is protected in the ground. If it was sitting on top of the ground, it could get eaten, it could dry up from the sun, it could get blown away, it could do anything, and it's not going to be I think Mercury is going direct soon. I'm having issues today. This is like the fourth time I've restarted this, so we're just going to keep going. When you don't protect the seed and you don't plant the seed, it can't grow, right? So sometimes those things are protective. These dark aspects are protective, whereas light can be expansive. So every symbol has these aspects to them. They have these polarities to them. You literally cannot take one without the other. It's like trying to accept a coin from someone. You can't just take the head side. You got to take the tail side too. You can't take them off, Some people literally like to just look at the head side all the time and don't acknowledge that there's a tail side. Some people do the opposite, but you can't take them away from each other. They are all part of one whole. And that is true of all symbols. Now, on this channel specifically, I want to be really super clear that when we talk about these things, we are always going to be talking about symbols as a whole. I am never, ever going to be talking about one aspect over the other, or even saying that one is good over the other, because quite frankly, it's not even about the intention of how you use that energy. It's often the circumstances in which you use that energy. If we take these moral connotations off of light and dark and start talking about them like yin and yang, or actually the terms I really like are protective and expansive, because there are situations where burning everything to the ground is the right thing to do, is the good thing to do. When something is not working properly, when something has run its course, when it's just time for something to end, it is absolutely the right thing to do to burn that mother effer to the ground. It just is. So it's not really about what's good or bad. A lot has to do with what is protective for us or expansive. And there are times and places for everything. Balance is really the ultimate goal. It's not about being one or the other. It's not about being good or bad or right or wrong. It's about balance, because it's, like I said, the quality of the situation and your intention. For instance, there are many times in life where all of us have to literally fight to survive, fight for our lives to survive. And that is something that we have to do in that moment, because otherwise we're going to die, right? We have to fight. Now, on the other side of that, when we do survive, does that mean that every time that we run into someone, do we assume that they are attacking us and that we also have to fight for survival against them? Or that we just go pick fights with people because this is a new energy mode that we've picked up or whatever, just, because it's fun, whatever? No, that is not what it means. There are aspects where those things do start to hold us back and they do become toxic. So in that situation, just fighting someone for the heck of it, or because you think that they're attacking you when that's not really happening, that's when that becomes toxic. It's your intention is to attack when the situation doesn't really call for it. So yes, that's when it can become toxic. But in this other situation where you're literally trying to preserve yourself or your life or your way of life or whatever it is that you're fighting for, it is absolutely appropriate to fight tooth and nail. So it's not about being good or bad. It's about being whole and balance. And that's kind of what the process of individuation is from a Jungian perspective. That's one of the goals of Jungian psychology, really, is to integrate those sides of ourselves. And, knowing that there are aspects of us that don't need to be demonized. It's just really a matter of how we use it. Like superheroes, actually. Superpowers. I'll probably do another video on that someday too, but I have so many ideas of videos, but we will talk about that at some point. But it's one of those things, like, I don't know if any of you have seen The Boys. I know the new season just started. Season 3, looking forward to it. Haven't watched it yet. I'm going to very soon. But anyway, what I really like about that show is it does kind of show the darker side of that and how those things can be used in ways that are really super destructive. And, it's very true. We can misuse all of those things. We can misuse all of those superpowers. So that's really kind of what individuation is about. It's about knowing what we have, knowing how to use it, knowing when to use it, knowing that sometimes certain circumstances call for certain things and sometimes others don't. But none of that energy is bad or good. It is just appropriate for certain circumstances. And human beings have a hard time with that. We don't like looking at those things that make us feel uncomfortable. So it does make it a little bit harder for us to integrate those things as a whole. But you really can't get away from having both of them in life. They are integral to our life, to getting through life, and they serve purposes. They serve a purpose. I was watching, I think it was a Lexi the Leo video the other day. Lexi the Leo, awesome card reader, check her out. I think it was one of her videos, but she was talking, I don't even remember what it was that she was talking about, if I'm being completely honest with you, but I was thinking about this concept of having, you know, good and evil all the time. Like there's just an overwhelming, it's you can't get rid of them. You have to have one, because it doesn't mean anything else without the other. Like you can't take them apart. They're just what they are. And I've, you know, I know that, but there's also kind of this futility about that concept. And for a long time, actually, I did really, you know, it's like, I do know this, but so why? Like, if that's the case, then why bother with anything, really, right? Because we're always going to have that darkness. So what's the point of even trying to be in the light, or to have some sense of good? And something about that video, like I got actually a message from my guides that was talking about that, and was and basically said the whole process of integrating those things in ourselves means that we can remove it from the outside world, from outside of life. Because another thing that Jung talks about is that when we do not acknowledge the things that are in ourselves, either, you know, psychologically or, you know, whatever, like if we don't acknowledge those things in ourselves and deal with them, we will experience them in the outer world, and we will feel like they're fate. Like we'll feel that these things are happening to us unless we actually take care of it within ourselves. So, and that's kind of what that's about. It's when we can integrate those things in ourselves, eventually we won't have that in the outer world, because we will have it in ourselves and know that there are certain reasons for using each of those aspects of ourselves, and that there isn't really a right and wrong about it. It's just what it is. They need to be together. We need them for certain things. We need all of that so we can grow. And, you know, you do hear a lot about, I want to say like criticism, I guess, that, well, we spend too much time thinking about ourselves and blah, blah, and we should be like helping others and stuff too. But I would like to say that, yes, we can't spend all of our time on ourselves. We do have to interact with the world. Again, balance. However, if you have systems that have people who are not using their energy in a way that is expansive when it needs to be and protective when it needs to be, if you have people that are misusing it and using it in toxic situations, it's going to make your whole system toxic. If we can't fix those things within ourselves, we are not going to be able to fix it in the whole. There's another video that someone sent me a couple weeks ago. It was a video of Marie Von Franz, who is a Jungian analyst. I pretty much know her from her work with fairy tales and things like that. I'm positive she does other things, but that's what I know her from. But anyway, in the video, it's a short 10-minute video, and I will definitely link it in the description because it was really pretty interesting. But she's talking about that exactly. She talks about basically how we can fall into the collective shadow, because we do have a collective shadow through our own personal shadow if we don't acknowledge it, because each individual is part of the whole. So it just, you know, if there's part of the whole that is problematic or diseased, or, you know, just as an analogy, if you have a fruit basket and you have fruit, and some of it's moldy, the rest of it's going to be moldy. You can't have a piece of bad fruit in there and have the rest of it be good. So that's another reason that we need to be doing these things for ourselves first, so we can help the whole become that way as well. Or, you know, again, like the airplane mask analogy as well. You have to put your mask on first before you can help someone else, or you're going to pass out. How are you going to help other people if you're passed out? You can't. So that's the point of individuation and, you know, balancing those opposites, using your lighter in the appropriate way for the appropriate circumstances, for the highest good, for your highest expansion or your highest protection. Because, you know, when you do know how to use them properly, those things can be used in a laser focused way that can minimize damaging everything else, you know. So those are the kinds of, that's the reason for this. Like, that's why we do this. But the other thing that I really, really, really want to make very clear, and I feel like I probably will have to use this disclaimer in a lot of upcoming videos, because I will always be using both sides of those. I believe that they're both valid. I believe that they're both important, and that we need to look at them as individuals, as a society, all of it. Some of these things can be triggering for people because, like I said, they don't like to look at those negative things. It makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel bad. It makes them feel like there's something wrong with them. People don't like to look at it. They just literally do not like to look at it. But I just want to make that really clear, that that's how we're always going to be going down on this channel. We're always going to be talking about them as a whole, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. And I especially want to make it clear that when we start talking about certain things like the masculine and the feminine, that can get real triggery. So yeah, so I'm sure you will hear me say this probably a million times, and you might even get tired of it. I'll probably end up linking this video to a lot of other videos, because it is really important that we understand that, and that we understand that we, first of all, should not be moralizing any of this. All of these are human experiences that we all go through. It's not right or wrong. These are learning experiences, and we can always make the decision to be better, always. So even when you do mess up, or even when you do use this energy in a way that is destructive to yourself and everyone around you, you can still change that. You always have the ability to use that energy in an appropriate way for appropriate circumstances, always. The more you know how to use that energy, the more you know about that energy, the more you know about its strengths and weaknesses, you know, the things that it can do and the things that it can't do. The more you know about that, the easier it's going to be for you to make those decisions on how you can use it properly. I spend a lot of time like going over things that I want to talk about in videos, and actually talk to myself quite a bit. But I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, along with several other videos, and like things like, hey, I think we're gonna need to like break these down into smaller things, because otherwise these videos are gonna be like forever. But anyway, so I'd been kind of going over this idea in my mind for a couple of days, and then today I pulled some cards from this deck that is one of my all-time favorite oracle decks. The cards are beautiful. The book is, I love it. It's just, yeah. So I pulled some cards talking about like completely different things than this, wasn't even really. And one of the cards that I got that I realized actually really sums it up. You know, like what I'm talking about, is, sorry about that. I dropped the card. Then I've been doing like several different takes. Like today's the first day that I'm editing videos, but yeah. I was gonna try to do more videos after this, but Mercury retrograde's kind of being mean to me today, so I don't think that's a good idea. Anyway, I think this is my 8th take. We're hoping this one goes through. So the card that I chose, the card that I pulled, is this card. I embrace the all. I'm going to now try to read it for you. Let's see if this works this time. I embrace the all. Cosmic consciousness is a term first coined in 1901 in the book Cosmic Consciousness, A Study in the Evolution of the Human Mind by Richard Maurice Buck. Its central tenet is that cosmic consciousness is a consciousness of life and order of the universe which is possessed by few men at present. It is a further stage of human evolution which will be reached by all humanity in the future. While at the present moment, the various gradients of the collective consciousness tend to anthropomorphize the idea of the all that is as a being. By embracing the ideal of the all, we can find relationship with our true being. The all of our individual reality is our poetry in motion. The allegory and the metaphor of our story within the history of the universe becoming conscious of itself through its individual components becoming conscious. Becoming cosmically aware, we illuminate our darkness with the sparks of light that experience provides us as we emerge from the caverns of ignorance into a space of crystalline clarity. To know the all, we must see the all as a type of awareness, a nebula amid nebulousness, the key which opens all doors of perception and potential. Embracing this ideal, we find a relationship with the power of doing as well as being. We allow the stellar force of life to give us gravity in the moments that ground us, but also elevate us through levity, reflection, and creativity in the moments that knock us off our feet. The invisible patterns that govern intelligent design reveal their geometry in nature, the cosmos, and the varying degrees of consciousness you ascend toward as you learn and find your vision by experiencing the all. Man is a star bound to a body until the end. He is freed through his strife. Only by struggle and toiling, thy utmost shall the star within thee bloom out in new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realm of night. That is from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, who is the divine counterpart of Ma'at. Once you begin to see this pattern, the idea of embracing this ideal becomes manifest in awareness of the concept that creation created you to be creative. All is within, but also without. If you look to beyond the surface, you can appreciate this pattern with your every breath. You are the cosmos made conscious, and this moment is but one chapter in a story that never ends. I really love this. Pick it up if you guys can. It's beautiful. I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to put myself out of my misery, and I made it through, so like, yay for me. It was a struggle. So anyway, I'm going to end this video, and I will be back for more videos on a different day, hopefully when Mercury is not fucking with me. So anyway, thanks you guys, and I will see you in another video.